As you already know, NBA 2K21 Next Generation had a roster update. In this roster update, they didn't just change like the ratings of players, they also changed some faces, specifically all-time players. They've actually changed 10 players in NBA 2K21, and I'm going to cover that in this video. Que pasa to the pack? It is Pack here,
aka your mama's best friend.
In today's video, I'm covering the 10 players who got a face change. But before this video starts, so be an OG, join the pack and subscribe, and also follow the new channel called Pack. I'm doing IRL content and react stuff over time, so please check it out and subscribe. So the first player that got changed is an honorable mention, and that is Norman, who was an all-times Clippers player. They did update him. The problem is I cannot find the previous version of his face scan anywhere. Like, literally, I can't find it anywhere. But I know for a fact it's been changed because I remember how he used to look like, and his beard was terrible. And they finally updated it, and that actually looks really, really solid. I'm actually impressed by them a lot for this one. There's still a lot of all-time players that need to change or fix because some of them are pretty ridiculously bad. But still, I'm glad that they're at least working on some of them over time. Like, that's a good sign that they're changing them. And it's you know what actually happened is that YouTube modder named Razor, they hired him to do face scans. So he's actually in charge of all these crazy good face scans. It's good to see. At number 10 on this list, we have Hawks legend and crazy dunker Josh Smith. It was really hard to find a lot of these face scans, boys. Trust me when I say this. The previous version of these face scans basically didn't exist online. I had to search deep for that one on the left, but that is how Josh Smith used to look like. Very upset on the left, I'm gonna be honest. More than anything, he looks older on the left, but now they got the prime younger version of Josh Smith on the right when he was bodying people. It's good to see that they have focused on him because he definitely needed to change, and they made that headband thicker, like just straight up, and the beard is a lot more realistic. Just overall, they literally just made him look like a younger version of Josh Smith, which is accurate, and you love to see it. At number 9 is Darren Williams on the all-time Jazz. I know this one isn't like the craziest change, that's why I kind of have it at number 9. It's not like very detailed or anything, but also sorry for the extreme graininess on the left, but he definitely did get updated. Like, just look at his eyebrows alone, you can tell how much thicker they got. His skin color, or I guess tone, was fixed a lot as well. His lips weren't made pink or like super shiny for whatever reason, and the beard is a lot shorter, the nose a lot more accurate, and more than anything as well, he looks younger. But that is how he looked like on the Jazz in his prime, when it was like him and CP3 as who was the best point guard in the league. People forget how good Darren Williams really was, but I'm glad they finally added him into 2K last year, and now they gotta make him look basically perfect, which is good to see. At number 8 on the list, we have Jeff Hornacek. Now, Jeff Hornacek, this is what they do. This is the problem with Jeff Hornacek. They gave him the coach face scan on his normal player. And let's be real, Jeff Hornacek as a coach was like in his late 40s, 50s. So obviously he did not look like that in his prime on the left, so they finally decided to update that as well. The problem is on the right, they made him look way too young that it doesn't even really look like Jeff Hornacek at all. I don't even know what the biggest problem is. It's just a little bit of everything. I think it looks kind of like Jeff Hornacek when he was younger, but there's definitely something wrong here that just makes you go like, sure it is. But it's good enough. I think that it's good enough for a while. At number 7 on this list, we have all-times Blazers player Jerome Kersey. Now, Jerome on the left looks straight up terrible, and he's looked terrible for years and years and years, and they finally decided to give him not only an accurate face scan and accurate hair and everything, but they made him a lot younger like he was in his prime, which is a good thing to see. I love it when 2K is putting attention to players that you would have never thought they would have fixed, but here they go. The hair is the biggest thing. Like on the left, it looks like he's wearing like a hard hat, and on the right, it just looks like actual hair. It's actually impressive. And they gave him a little mini mustache, which he did have for a long time in his career. It's actually a very good face scan, more than anything. At number 6 on this list, we have Nets legend Buck Williams. Another player that actually, you know, on the left, it's actually not terrible. On the right is definitely a little more realistic, but I think it's just little things like they've changed like the head style. They changed like he had a little widow's peak for a hairline, which they added into the game. The beard is a lot more defined and thick, which is what he had, and he made his face longer and the ears smaller. So it's the little things they changed, but all those little things ended up making this face scan look really, really, really good. And it's hard to make all-time players. You can't go to like Larry Bird today and be like, all right, let's face scan you for 2K, because he obviously doesn't look like how he did in his prime. And that's kind of hard to do these legend players sometimes, but they did a really good job here with Buck Williams. At number 5 on the list, it is Zach Randolph. Even though this one isn't really like a big change, it's a very, very small one. The only reason they gave him an update is because he's not in the league anymore. I think they should give him an update again though, because he still looks kind of old on the right, but on the left, even though it's super grainy, you can tell that it's just a little bit different. It's not many changes though, like the beard, kind of give him a goatee instead of that super long beard on the side. The head shape and like the eyes are a lot more deeper. Like you can see like the bags in his eyes a lot more defined. But like it's not a lot of changes. It's not like this crazy like, oh my gosh, Zach Randolph looks so realistic here. But he was updated. But I think that he deserves like a younger version of himself eventually, in my opinion. At number 4 on this list, it is Lakers legend Byron Scott. Yeah, this is definitely somebody that needed it, because on the left, that's how they had it for a long time, and it never looked like him. And now it definitely is a lot more realistic. I'm actually like super impressed by this one. Just being honest, like they gave him the little mole, they get the skin color right, the head shape was right, the ear is super detailed on that one on the right compared to the left. Well, his right compared to his left. It is a little like damaged. You can see the beard is like the little mustache is a lot more defined, and the nose is bigger. It looks like Byron Scott. It does. It looks like him in when he was younger in his prime with the Lakers. On the left, it looks like PS3 version of Byron Scott. It's terrible. At number 3 on this list, we have Knicks legend and also Bulls legend, I guess, Charles Oakley. Yeah, Charles Oakley on the left looks terrible, and I always thought he looked just straight garbage on the left. And now you have the one on the right that's at least a lot more realistic when he was with the Bulls and the Knicks. I know he looked very different throughout his career, and definitely on the Raptors looks a little more like accurate on the left. But for most of his career in his prime when he was the best, on the right is how he looked like. A little Vander Holyfield on him, you know, kind of looks like that. The mustache is thick, the eyebrows are done right, and the hair is done correctly. You know, this is actually one of the best face scans in the game. I'll say it straight up. It's actually a very, very, very solid face scan, and it looks correct, and that's what's important. At number 2 on this list, it is Drazen Petrovic. From my understanding, he did pass away, and it's good to see that players that are iconic, that were great, and that passed away, 2K puts good attention to them, like how they updated Kobe, makes him look perfect. Drazen is another player like with that example. That left side, it kind of looked like him, but it wasn't good enough. You can tell there was some serious problems on it. On the right, it looks pretty solid. I do think that they kind of gave him like weird lines on his face, like over detailed it, but it still looks like him clearly, and it's good because he's one of the better shooters ever. He was a demon on the Nets, and it's good to see. And finally, at number 1, it is Mavericks legend, greatest Maverick of all time, one of the greatest power forwards of all time, Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, he gets a new face scan every other year because he has a lot of different looks throughout his career compared to his rookie year, his prime with the long hair, his kind of like NBA championship look, and then his old look. Dirk has a lot of looks, and I think they kind of did the best that they could for the all-time Dirk version on the right, and they were like, this is basically Dirk Nowitzki for the most part of his career. And you know, I agree. I do think the long hair Dirk is the most iconic, but that's not the Dirk that, you know, is the most. He's had this hairstyle and version the longest, which is on the right, which is good and accurate, and I like to see that at least it seems decent. What do you guys think though? Which is the best one? Who are they missing? Leave it in the comments below. And hey, if you like this channel, give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time.